The Google Pixel Fold is a different breed of foldable phone, and that's a good thing at a time Samsung has become synonymous with the category. It has a wide front display, the thinnest design, and, of course, Pixel-grade cameras. But as you've seen in our Pixel Fold review, it's not perfect, and it has the same $1799 price as the Galaxy Z Fold 5. At Google I/O, I had a chance to sit down with George Hwang, product manager for Google Pixel, about what makes the Pixel Fold stand out, the size of those bezels, and whether Google is working on a Pixel Flip. George, what do you feel like are the three things that really make the Pixel Fold stand out?
Yeah, it's a great question. Think about it quite a bit, and there's so much we're proud about. But I think that if I had to choose three, it's really the design, which is led by the thinnest foldable out there. It's then durability and our focus on durability, ensuring that it's robust and people can use it like they use anything else every day.
Right.
And then the last one is around the cameras, ensuring that we brought all of that great Pixel camera goodness to this.
So what about the thinness of the Pixel Fold? So it's like 0.2 inches thin. So how were you able to do that? And were there any trade-offs that you had to make as a result of that?
I think first and foremost, getting it this thin, which is about two-thirds the thickness of our traditional Pixel Fold, was a real task. And we had to rethink how we architected a phone, how we laid out a phone, and even all the components. So even things from like the haptics modules, the speakers, and particularly the camera had to be all redesigned from the ground up to really ensure that we brought the great user experience that you would expect from us. But the key thing that enabled that was our hinge, our 180-degree fluid friction hinge. It really does enable us to actually go that thin and still balance all of the other aspects of it.
But one other thing that really stands out is the exterior display and the aspect ratio that you guys chose. And it makes a big difference in terms of everyday usability and wanting to use it when the phone is closed. How did you decide on the size and how wide it should be?
The first thing is we actually looked at data. We were trying to see, well, how often do people use their phones? And really, what did they do on their phones to try to make some decisions? We saw that the 99th percentile of the user unlocks their phone and uses their phone about 200 times per day. So a lot of interactions. And the majority of those are actually quite short interactions.
Right.
Sending a quick text message, changing the song or the volume, and then maybe setting an alarm clock. So it's really cumbersome to have to change that, the way that you do that. So we really focused on giving a phone-first type of design here that's very similar to the phone that I'm sure you have in your pocket.
Yep.
And then the benefits of that is actually when you unfold it, it gives you a large 7.6-inch display that's really beneficial for things like media consumption as well as multitasking, which are key use cases if you think about how people use things like tablets.
What are some of those usage modes that you have, whether it's like tent or the tabletop mode, and what can you do with them?
Yeah, so we've worked with our friends in Android and as well as the Play Store and our developer partners to really ensure that we could optimize for particularly obviously the outside display, but then in the inside display as well, ensuring that we could bring those in an optimized view on the inside display and the transition between, which isn't easy. You could start something on the outside and via continuity, it comes out into the larger screen.
Right.
Then on top of that, because of the hinge that we developed, you do get some extra modes, which we're really excited about. Tent, this is really great. You know, the thing that I do often is I like to cook, surprise. And I'll be watching a YouTube clip on, you know, a recipe.
Yep.
And because I have my hands dirty, I'll just be watching it kind of intent like this, and then going and making the food and things like that. Or we also use it for astrophotography, which is because you want to have like a hands-free tripod. And so you kind of set it into astrophotography mode if you go camping or something like that, and you get a really great view of the starry sky.
So you can do a time lapse without having to do anything, or use a tripod.
Exactly, or bring extra gadgets and things like that. Okay. And then on this side, we have optimized several apps and continue to expand on that as well. YouTube's a great one, Peloton's another great one, where you have the content, the viewing content on the top, and then additional information on the bottom, stats, comments, playlists, or the thing that I like to do, if you're on a Google Meet call, for example, is I actually, if I'm gonna pay attention to the Warriors game, I'll have the box score on the bottom using a split screen.
Now that is multitasking.
It is. It's very smart of me.
In terms of the design itself, I think some people have been commenting on like the size of the bezels themselves. I mean, I guess they're more prominent than they are than a regular phone.
Yeah.
But are there certain like design considerations you have to give when you're designing a foldable phone?
So I talked about the thinness of this device and a lot of that being driven around the hinge. And so how generally most hinges are made is that the hinge mechanisms are actually behind the display.
Yep.
And so that adds to the thickness of the device, right? Because if you just think of a stack, you got to add things on top of that stack.
Right.
And so what we did to really drive thinness is we actually took those hinge mechanisms out to the corner. Okay. That drove what you consider these bezels over here, but that actually gave us two benefits. It allowed us to improve the durability of the hinge, as well as put the selfie camera into the bezels such that you have like a perfect display, large display.
You say, I think, that it's the most durable foldable device out there?
Foldable hinge out there.
Foldable hinge.
Yeah.
And how do you come to a claim like that?
A lot of testing, a lot of devices being dropped, and worked closely with the engineering and the reliability teams to be quite rigorous in this.
Right.
But it's something that you actually have to start from the get-go. You can't just be like, oh, and we're going to test it later on, right? We were really thoughtful about this, making sure that when people buy this, they have confidence in the device. And so we put that into our design from the get-go, and then we obviously validated that through rigorous testing.
Okay, talking a lot about AI and like AI phones, and that's what Google makes, whether it's a 7A on up to this. How does AI play a role in the user experience of someone using a Pixel Fold?
Yeah, there are multiple ways, not just on Pixel Fold, but also Pixel phones in general, which we're really proud about. One of those that's really special to Pixel Fold will be that dual screen interpreter mode that we were discussing earlier, where if you're in another country, and then we can have a much more fluid conversation, because you can be quite creative with this type of device. You have screens on both sides of the display, you have cameras everywhere, and you got this really interesting hinge that holds its state, kind of unleashes the capabilities. That, powered with our AI capabilities, allows you to kind of think through new use cases, new experiences for our users.
What about the pricing of it? Because I think Google is known for, in a good way, undercutting the competition, whether it's the Pixel 7a or the Pixel 7 line. This is in line with the competition at $17.99. Did you think about going lower, or what can you tell us about the pricing strategy and what it means?
When we thought about this phone and we worked on it, we really wanted to make sure we brought the best of Google and the best that we could forward. And so we kind of balanced that, everything from the design to the camera, many of the hinge things. And so I think our focus was ensuring that we brought the best device and the best overall device all around. And we really feel like we did a great job with that, ensuring that we could actually deliver on the promise that we wanted to and bring the greatest experience for a foldable phone to our users.
Cool. And I know you can't comment about future products, but what do you think about flip style foldable phones as opposed to the book style? Is it a category that you're investigating, or do you like just sort of focusing on this one form factor for now? Like, what do you think of the flip style phones?
Yeah, we're always looking at different types of devices, different types of technologies, and it's really interesting. We're definitely looking at it. The thing for us is we want to focus specifically on this form factor because everything we could kind of bring to it and ensure that we could kind of solve some key user issues, from the design to the apps, as well as the camera. And so we're quite confident in what we're doing with this. But we're always exploring other types of devices and other types of technologies.
All right, George, well, thank you so much for your time. That's our interview with George Hwang on the Pixel team. Be sure to check out our full Google Pixel Fold review and our Pixel Fold versus Galaxy Z Fold 5 face-off on Tom's Guide. And be sure to follow us at Tom's Guide on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. I'm Mark Spoonhour, and I'll see you in the next video.